like to call the Iberia Parish Council meeting to order. The date is January 10th, 2018. The time is 6 p.m. If everyone can rise for the prayer and the pledge. Mr. Tommy Landry.
Bow your heads for this prayer, please. Lord, make us an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is inquiring that we receive, it is imparting that we are pardoned, and it is dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Olivier, if you can lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Tommy Pollard.
Here.
Michael Landry.
Here.
Tommy Landry.
Here.
Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Warren Goshesang.
Here.
Natalie Broussard.
Here.
Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gonsalas.
Here.
Joe Duda. Eugene Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Berwick Francis.
Here.
Marty Trahan.
Here.
Chad Montreal.
Here.
Just for the record, Mr. Dugas called me and let me know that he had a death in the family and was not going to be able to be present tonight. So our condolences go out to Mr. Dugas and his family. Next, we'll move into public comments. I need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Landry. Paul Landry, roll call. That motion carries. First on the agenda is comments from the general public on non-agenda items. We had no request for any comments on non-agenda items. So we'll move to the next item, which is general comments on agenda items. First, we have Mr. Benny Maynard to talk about Summary 220 and 02.
Yeah, my name is Benny Menard, and I'm asking to be reappointed to two boards that have come up at the same time. First one is the Iberia Economic Development Authority, and the second one is with the District Attorney's Child and Youth Planning Board. I think both my terms have come up, and I'm asking to be reappointed for a second term on both of them, if you would mind.
Thank you, Mr. Maynard, and thank you for serving, especially on more than one board. We appreciate your involvement in the community. Next, we have Darlene French to talk about agenda item number 05.
Good evening. I'm also requesting to be appointed to the 16th Judicial Children's and Youth Planning Board. I have served on that board for about 8 years and have been the secretary and wish to continue in that position. So I would appreciate your consideration for that.
Thank you, Ms. French, and I appreciate your willingness to serve as well. This is a committee, right? It's on committee. Are there any other members? Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, my name is Dr. Kurt O'Brien. I serve on the board for the hospital. My term has come up, and I'm asking to be reappointed to that.
Thank you. You're representing the medical staff, correct?
Right,
Dr.
I
Brown?
represent the medical staff, yes.
And I realize you're on call, and we appreciate you taking the time out to come over here and introduce yourself, and I understand you'll be excusing yourself to go back to work.
If you don't mind, thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you all.
Are there any other people that are trying to be appointed to any boards or commissions that would like to address the council? All right, there's a couple more on the agenda that I know we had gotten some communication that they might not be able to make it for tonight's meeting, and requested that we table them to the next meeting to give them another opportunity. So when those items come up, we'll do that. Having no other requests for for public comment. I have a motion from Mr. Brown, a second from Mr. Olivier to close public session. Roll call. That motion carries. Next, we have reports, finance and administrative action, none. Reports, parish or other governmental agencies, the building permit reports for the month of December 2017. That was included in our packets. Public Works reports, the Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated December 11th through the 15th, the 18th through the 22nd, the 25th through the 29th, all of 2017. And the Public Works Department reports for open work orders dated December 19th, 2017. That was also provided in our packets. Special business, we have the election of the officers. First election will be the chair. I'll open nominations for chairman. Do I have any nominations? Mr. Brown?
I nominate Eugene Olivier.
All right, Mr. Olivier?
Thank you, Lord, for the consideration. I appreciate that. I would also like to thank all those that called and spoke to me about hospital.
Considering the chair position. However, at this time, I would think I can better serve Iberia Parish by focusing on the NACO National Transportation Steering Committee, which is something I want to really be involved with. Also, maybe working with Larry on a regional level on some of the projects that we have working on right now with the state of Louisiana. Although that, I will keep the option open for future times and future dates, but at this point, I would have to decline. And also, if I do decide to run for chair, I'll definitely give it 100%. Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olivier. Mr. Brown withdraws his nomination. Next, Mr. Napier, you have the floor.
Yes, I'd like to nominate the gentleman from District 7, Mr. Paul Landry, for chair.
All right, so we have Mr. Landry nominated for chair. Any other nominations for chair? Hearing none,
I move we close the nomination.
need to close nominations. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Gonsalves to close nominations. Roll call. Tom. That motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Landry. You are the next chairman, and I will turn it over to you. Good luck. I enjoyed my year, and I look forward to switching chairs.
I may say something right quick. Natalie, thank you for your services at Chapel. You did a wonderful job, and I really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
I would like to extend that compliment also.
Thank you.
How long is it gonna take you? Okay, we just take nominations from. Okay, now we'll go on to item 2B. We're going to take nominations for vice chair. Does anybody have any nominations for vice chair? Mr. Napier?
I'd like to nominate a gentleman from District 8, Mr. Ricky Gonsalves.
Okay, we have one nomination, Mr. Ricky Gonsalves. We have a second nomination by Marty for Mr. Tommy Landry. Any other nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. Go ahead and fill out your. Oh. Go. Okay, we have a request by Mr. Gonsalves, second by Mr. Napier. Roll call. Oh, it's closed, okay. So vote your ballot. District 1, we have Tommy Landry. District 2, we have Ricky Gonsalas. District 3, Tommy Landry. District 4, Tommy Landry. District 5, Ricky Gonsalas. District 6, Ricky Gonsalas. District 7, Tommy Landry. District 8, Ricky Gonsalas. District 10, Tommy Landry. District 11, Ricky Gonsalas. District 12, Ricky Gonsalas. District 13, Tommy Landry. District 14, Ricky Gonsalas. Okay, we have 6 votes for Tommy Landry, 7 votes for Ricky Gonsalas. Go ahead and revote. Okay, no voting right now. Mr. Tommy Landry has withdrawn his name. So, Mr. Ricky Gonsalas, you'll be the vice chair next year.
Thank y'all, appreciate it. Thank Tommy for being on
Rick, you staying there? Or you go?
I'll stay there, that's fine.
Okay. Special business, item number 2, we have President Larry Reshort to present certificates of congratulations to the members of the Catholic High School football team and coaches, All-State Sugar Bowl, Louisiana High School Athletic Association, Division III State Championship.
I would like to get up and present to Coach Endez. On behalf of Iberia Parish government, Iberia Parish administration, this certificate of appreciation is to Catholic High School of the Iberia Panthers, Coach Hernandez, 2017 All-State Sugar Bowl, Louisiana High School Athletic Association District Division III State Champions. This is signed by the mayor, Freddie DeCourt, and myself as parish president. We had a great season. I was at the game. It was awesome. I screamed. I was hoarse.
I just want to thank everybody for all of your support of all high school athletics, not only at Catholic High, but at all the other schools in the parish. And hopefully, this won't be the last one. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Brent. Next item on the agenda is council member announcements. Do we have any announcements with the council? Seeing no announcements, we move on to the parish president's announcements. Oh, hold on, Mr. Gonsalas.
Just want to make an announcement that the Bayou Teche Mardi Gras Association Parade is Saturday night, 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. Want to make sure I got that right. And encourage everyone to come out and attend the parade and support the community. It's going to be a great parade. It'll be a little cold, so wear your jacket and bring the kids out and have a good time.
Okay. Any other comments? Mr. Eugene?
Yeah, members of our parish in their prayers. A lot of members are suffering from bronchitis, pneumonia, flu, and all kind of other symptoms. It's really taking a toll on a lot of families in Iberia Parish. So if we can all keep them in our prayers, I will appreciate it. I'm sure they'll appreciate it also. Thank you.
Mr. Napier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take this time to really thank Natalie and Warren for leading us this past year as chair and vice chair to get us to where we at, and hopefully Paul and Ricky can follow up and keep it going. And to all the chairmen and vice chairs this past year. Thank you.
Thank
Natalie,
you.
Warren.
Anybody else have any announcements? Mr. President, you have the floor now.
This one is for you, Barak. Pellerin Bridge, actually, it was awarded by the Department of Transportation. It was actually bid in December the 15th, I think it went out. And the apparent little bit is great construction. This should take place sometime in, as far as construction, for them to start mobilizing, I would assume, within the next 60 days. And look, I know you've been on me about this bridge for a long time, and I appreciate all the work that you've done. I appreciate all the work that you've done with Scott Saunier. Scott is actually the one that overseeing this thing, and Scott, I appreciate everything that you did to get this going. The next announcement is I received a letter from the governor this week, and the letter, I'm going to read part of the letter. It said, "I'm happy to inform you that I've approved the fiscal year 2017 Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Public Facilities application for Iberia Parish government in the amount of $800,000. These funds will be used to expand parish water distribution systems to residents of the Coteau area." So this is a big deal. By installing approximately 16,000 linear feet of water mains, as well as providing household connections to qualified residents. That's a very, very big deal for us in Iberia Parish. Sales tax collection. The 2017 budget was approved last year. Most of you know that we anticipated a 10% reduction in sales tax. The TIF tax this year in 17 was an 11% decline from a 15% decline in 2016. The solid waste tax was a 10% decline from a 25% decline in 2016. The mosquito control and drainage tax was a 5% decline from a 14% decline. And the recreation tax was a 7% decline from a 19% decline last year. Two of the four taxes, of course, was well within the 10% that we anticipated, so we really did very, very good. Kim did an extremely good job on anticipating what these numbers was going to be, and I'm very proud to work with you, Kim. You're doing a fantastic job. The other thing I want to announce is Public Works. Of course, we're doing the cleaning of the culverts inspections and debris pickup and picking up trees that's fallen down or whatever the case, and field drainage and roadside drainage and road patching and road repairs and shoulder work. That's what we do every day. One thing I want to pass on to you and to the people that may be listening to this is we have increased muds on the road right now due to the weather. And I want to say that the farmers are working extremely hard in areas where they're actually getting on the roads to keep these roads clean. And they're working with the parish, and we're doing the very best we can. And if you have any areas that you may see that need to be cleaned, let me know, and we'll take care of that. One other thing I want to pass on is on the 25th of January, Thursday, the Civic Source will be having a meeting at Iberia Parish Central Library. It's the main library on Main Street. The reason for the meeting, of course, is to talk about adjudicated properties. And at that meeting, they're going to talk about the properties that's being listed, the legal how legal matters are being performed, the sales process, the property that's being adjudicated. So if any of you want to hear anything about that, the 25th of January, starting at 6:30, I think that's going to be very informative. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh,
Next-
one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
One other thing. Okay. We have 4 checks went out for the council members that's actually monitoring the checks that's being given to the different non-government agencies. We have St. Francis Diner check has been cut and it's going out. The Iberia Homeless Shelter, Smile, and also Social Service Center. And the others are coming out soon. We're just waiting on some paperwork to Kim, and we'll take care of the rest of them. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gonsalas?
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Can you expound on, maybe I heard that possibly there was a solution or tentative solution with 911 that we're working with the city to get it resolved?
Yes,
If you
we
don't
had
mind.
a meeting this week with the sheriff department, with the city police department and 911, and we did come to an agreement where we are going to continue to work. In other words, the 911 center is going to work with the city police department, which is big. We don't want to try to start dividing things in Iberia Parish. It's working pretty good. It's helping with our ratings, and we had a very good meeting. So, and I'm very impressed with the new chief of police. He seemed to be very sharp. Answer your question.
Thank you for your efforts.
Any other questions? Okay.
The parish president and the administration for working on getting this deal done, and I also want to say thank you to all the council members, because through the time everyone showed a concern about us getting this bridge together. So I just want to say thank you to all you guys.
And if I can say something, if y'all remember when we first got here in 16, that bridge wasn't supposed to be done. I don't
Right.
think it was going to be going out for bid until 19.
19 or 20.
And we had placed a phone call to Representative Blake Migas, and he got on the, Blake did some things that really helped out a lot. And we all pulled together. We didn't have extra dollars to hire engineers like, I think West Baton Rouge, was East or West Baton Rouge? East Baton Rouge went out and they hired an engineer to, engineering firm to do the work and the evaluation of the bridge. I hired Scott. And Scott took care of it for us, and we did very, very well. So we're doing some very good things in Iberia Parish. I look forward to 2018. And they didn't get their bridge, matter of fact, but we're getting ours.
I want to send
but
a
we
thank
have-
you out there to also Representative Miguez too. Then.
Yeah, oh yeah, he did a lot.
Right.
So,
Right.
right. Just so you know, it is $667,000 for that project alone. Thank you. You're welcome.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll go on to consent agenda items. Is there anybody that wants to take anything out of the consent agendas? Hearing none, we move on. Minutes, special meeting of November 29, 2017, published December 28, 2017. Summary number 1, introduced by the parish president. A resolution granting substantial completion to the drainage improvements, North Side Road project. All is completed by M. Matt Duran LLC and is recommended by Wayne LaBeach Engineering LLC. Do I have a motion? I have a motion. I don't have a motion. I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalam. A second?
You in consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're still making the motion?
No, I'm just, I thought that's what you said.
Okay. And we have a second by Michael Landry. Discussion? Roll call?
Yeah, that's it.
No, but that's it.
That's the only one.
Right. Yeah, those two. Roll call? That motion passes. Ordinances to be introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 4850, introduced by the clerk of the council, an ordinance requesting the Louisiana Secretary of State to grant exceptions for precincts in Iberia Parish with less than 300 voters, including A, District 1, Precinct 4, B, District 7, Precinct 5, C, District 10, Precinct 6, District 10, Precinct 7, E, District 11, Precinct 5, and F, District 11, Precinct 7, and further authorizing submission to the legislator and/or Secretary of State for review and approval. Note this item may be held over for publication pending preliminary approval. I have a motion by Mr. Brown. I have a second by Ms. Napier. Discussion? We have a wave. Roll call. Tommy. And motion passes. Summary number 4890, introduced by the Charter Ad Hoc Committee, an ordinance proposing an amendment to Article 3, Section 3-04A and B of the Iberia Parish Home Rule Charter entitled Compensation, to revise the current section to allow the compensation of parish president shall be set at a base salary of $130,000 with the eligibility for a raise each year equivalent to parish employees with a 2% cap. The eligibility for all benefits offered by Iberia Parish government, and further that any new elected parish president shall begin their salary at the base salary of $130,000 effective immediately. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Napier. Ms. Broussard?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that the agenda says that this was introduced by the Charter Ad Hoc Committee, but this is not actually the motion that came out of the Ad Hoc Committee. This is the amended motion that came out of the Council Committee. So I just wanted to make that clear, that that's not what the recommendation of the Ad Hoc Committee was.
Mr. Napier?
To follow up on that, I I got a text from somebody that was on the ad hoc committee just stating the same thing that Ms. Broussard said, that I guess for just proper, the way it should read, it should have read administration.
No, it came out of the
I mean,
council committee.
council committee, not the ad hoc, and that's, yeah, that, I just want to follow up, make sure that that was cleared up.
Mr. Olivier?
I'm not going to support this resolution because I was all along when we did the charter rewrite, I was expecting a total charter rewrite in one item on the ballot as a charter rewrite. I do not want to put separate
Do you need to let them know
items on the
this is what
charter
voters and-
on the election ballot for the charter rewrite. I want this included in the charter rewrite as a complete one package charter that they can vote on at the election polls. So I'm not going to approve it. Although I agree with it, I'm not going to approve it on a standalone for the election. I want to see it with the charter rewrite. Thank you.
Ms. Broussard?
Yeah, and I think we've had this discussion, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think it's important for us to hear from the public. What this is not actually changing the salary of the parish president. It will be allowing it to go to the voters, for the voters of Iberia Parish to determine if they approve this to be how the parish president's salary is to be determined. And I think it's very important for us to hear from the voters before we bring the whole charter to them. So once we hear what the voters have to say about the salary, then we can make those amendments to the rest of the charter and bring the entire charter to the voters at that point.
Let's see. Mr. Napier?
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. The way this reads now, if we approve it, this by itself goes to the voters for approval, nothing,
Correct.
nothing else that we've been talking about, nothing else that the ad hoc committee came out?
Right.
Am I,
It's my understanding that the council hasn't even had an opportunity to fully review all of those amendments. That was tabled for us to keep reviewing and make determinations of that in the future. So that is what the ad hoc committee had recommended, that we take the 3 hot topic items. This
Yeah.
is the only one that passed out of the council committee. See what the voters have to say about that, and then bring the entire charter to the voters as a vote.
so I guess my question is, should we, and I'm just asking, should we even consider passing this tonight?
My
I mean, do we want
recommendation,
to send one thing to the voters, that would be the next election, if I'm understanding
yes,
right?
my recommendation would be that we do, because there's so many items in the charter that changes that are just coming into compliance with state law, housekeeping issues. There's a lot of changes, and we wouldn't want that entire charter rewrite to fail because the voters don't approve of the salary of the parish president. So we're trying to get some feedback from the voters. Is this what you want? How your parish president will be paid? And then we will put that charter amendment into the rest of the rewrite for them to approve the whole thing.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. Mr. Trahan?
What would be our cost for this election? Are we sharing it with somebody or not?
My recommendation would be that we get with, I guess it's Jason Akers and the Secretary of State to see, and we make sure it goes on a ballot, that it would not cost us no special election, that it would be with a different election.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call? That motion fails. Moving on to resolution summary number 220, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution ratifying the appointment of Mr. Benny Maynard to the Iberia Economic Development Authority, representing Iberia Parish Council's District 8 and 9 for the remainder of a 3-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Benny Maynard, whose term expired on December 31st, 2017. It was tabled from the December 27, 2017. I have a motion by Mr. Trahan, A second by Ms. Broussard. Discussion? Ms. Broussard? Mr. Gonsalas? Roll call? That motion passes. Summary number 02, introduced by the clerk of the court, council, a resolution appointing Mr. Benny Maynard as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing business and labor for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of a term of Mr. Benny Maynard, whose term expired December 31st, 2017. We have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Trahan. Discussion? Mr. Gonsalas? Roll call. And motion passes. Summary number 03, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mr. Stanley Small as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing the parenting and youth organizations for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Stanley Small, whose term expired December 31st, 2017. He didn't come speak. So. We have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Trahan. No, he didn't. So do you want to make? Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Trahan to table and a second by Mr. Napier. Roll call. Tommy? Oh. And motion passes. Summary number 04, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Judge Trey Hike as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing criminal justice for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of term for Judge Trey Hike, whose term expired December 31st, 2017. Have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Napier.
Move to table, being that Mr. Ike has not come before us.
Okay, is that fine, Mr. Napier? Okay, we have a motion to table, roll call. And motion passes. Summary number 05, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Ms. Darlene French as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing education for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term of Ms. Darlene French, whose term expired December 31st, 2017. Have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Michael Landry. We waive. Michael? Okay, roll call. And motion passes. Summary number 06, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Dr. Kirk O'Brien to Liberia Parish Hospital Service District Number 1 Board, representing the medical staff for the remainder of a 4-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term for Dr. Kurt O'Brien, whose term expired December 27, 2017. Have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Napier. Discussion? Roll call. Marty? Tommy? That motion passes. Summary number 07, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution announcing the regular meetings of the Iberia Parish Council to be held for fiscal year 2018. Have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Michael Landry. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 8, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution authorizing travel expenses for one council member to attend the 2018 NACO Legislative Conference to be held in Washington, D.C. from March 3rd to 7th, 2018, all to be funded with the remaining balance of the 2017 general fund budget legislative travel line item, less expenditures are allocated for the 2018 PGA conference, and that any remaining travel expenses beyond said amount shall be paid by the council member, and further that said funding shall be carried forward to the 2018 general fund budget legislative travel line item. Have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Brown? Let's see. Actually, we had 75.
Okay,
Then we had allocated the 5,000 to New Orleans.
all right.
But the 1375 for our registration should come out of the 5,000. So actually, the balance left is 2,575.
Oh, okay, that sounds better.
Because we were taking the 75 minus 5,000, thinking we had 25 left, and taking the 13 out of that. That's how we got to 12, but the 1375 would come out of the 5,000. That was the registration for the people going. So the balance is actually 2575.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it, Mr. Brown? Mr. Napier?
I just state for the record, I'm not gonna support this. It's been said, Mr. Richard said that about how much everything is down. I do believe in these conferences. I've made 2 state conventions. Last year, we paid our own way. And until we get on stable ground, I mean, look, we wasn't able to give raises to some of our most important people that work for the administration. So until we can, in my mind anyway, until we can get on good, stable ground, I'm not gonna support spending money on conferences. And hopefully we can get back to that, because they are informative, and you can learn a lot. But at this time, I'm not gonna support it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Ms. Broussard?
Kim, my understanding was that some of that money that was in that line item was the money that some of the council members had already paid for their first night at the state conference in New Orleans.
And I think after that, we got the credit card bill, and so the two like wash. I think when we not had it, that would have been a couple Wednesdays. We just we paid the credit card bill on Friday. And so I think we got the credit card bill like right after we had talked.
All right,
And
so
those payments came out.
I mean, I believe that the conference is important. I'm kind of with Mr. Napier like that, but, you know, we have council members that are trying to go to the state convention in New Orleans, then we have the national convention in Nashville, and, I mean, unless I knew an exact number, I was okay with about the $1,200, but at $2,500, I'm not okay with that. I don't think it's fair for us to put that much towards one council member, then all the other council members are paying out of their pocket for Nashville or all the conferences that they went to in 2017. So I can't support $2,500 and not knowing exactly how much it is. I'm not supporting that.
Okay. Ms. Sagashisa?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel the same way about the travel to Washington, D.C. I think we've asked department heads time and time again to go back and make cuts. I believe certain few up here did not get a raise or a 2.5% raise because that money wasn't in the general fund at the time. But the council is going to look to your face and want to travel on that money that you could have got that 2.5% raise. I think the understanding is $5,000 is going to be spent for New Orleans, and I think it's going to cost roughly around $27.20 per council member to go to Nashville, Tennessee, if those numbers are correct from the estimation from the clerk. But Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, I'm applaud that we would even consider this at a time right now when the economy's still down, and we just looked at every fund balance that is still running negatives. Maybe not negatives that it were last year. We see some improvement, but I don't think enough improvement to, again, travel on the taxpayers of this parish who are hurting, like Mr. Eugene said. Again, I hope that my council colleagues can see the writing on the wall that this is not a good idea. And I forgot to mention earlier that we've cut services to the people because we're running deficits in fund balance. So let's not forget those people that we're cutting services to when we're voting on things like this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Olivier?
You know, in all fairness, you know, what I'm asking for is the registration fee, the hotel expense, and the flight. I was gonna pay my own meals and whatever else expenses I would incur. It may not total the $2,500. I think I calculated it's about 24 something, I think it was. But anyway, the point is that each one of us as council member has a responsibility to the taxpayers and how we spend taxpayer dollars. Someone in this council gets compensated more than others. You know, I feel that I am being fair by asking for this amount of money because of the fact that I am not burdening the taxpayers with other expenses that some of us are burdening the taxpayers with. And I just want y'all to be fair about this and take that in consideration. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and, you know, I think these conferences are important too. And I think it's an exciting time in Washington. I think there's a lot of things going on. The president's talking about a infrastructure bill. Price of oil's up to about $63. I think we just have to have somebody there to get in front of the people. And I wouldn't be for more than one person, but I am happy with, you know, having one individual show up. So I will be supporting this. I think it's, you know, again, I wouldn't be sending all of us, but I think it's, you know, it's something that we're going to benefit from. Any other comment? Roll call? Okay. Ms. Napier?
I'm like, I think Warren and I was asking the same question. We don't know what number are we voting on? Do y'all know?
Yeah, you see the balance. Well,
No, but what is that number?
2575.
So we're gonna give what we voting on is $2,500 to Eugene to go to Washington, in a nutshell.
That would be, yeah,
Right?
a maximum.
The max, but I can show you, I don't think I'll need the whole amount.
How much you think you're gonna need?
I think I'm gonna need 2447.
$2,500, Eugene? It's $2,500?
That's the free expense.
You wanna go? Okay.
I have a substitution.
Okay, we have a substitution.
Process not coming up. I'd like to, motion to delete, please.
Okay, we have a motion to delete.
I'll second that.
We have a second by Mr. Napier. 1 second. You ready? You ready? Roll call. What? Okay, roll call.
We're gonna have discussion on deletion.
Okay, we can have discussion on deletion.
Mr. Eugene, I'm not against you going, but you read the same budget that we all read, and that budget just, it doesn't fit with everything the council has done in 2017. We've had town hall meetings where our council members are telling our people that we don't have the money to continue to do certain things, but yet, when it comes through the council making cutbacks, it seems that we forget that during the budget process. And you, like me, had an opportunity to remove that council insurance that you were referring to, and you didn't take that opportunity when we were amending the budget. And I'll be happy to support you on that if you'd like to do that. But on to this, you know as well as I know, the general fund is drying, and I am very proud to say that I did not support an extra dollar when y'all wanted to raise the max in the general fund, and this is the exact reason why. I reserve it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call. We voting on the substitution to deletion.
Resolution, right?
Correct. Voting on the deletion. Roll call. Tommy and Brown. Tommy. Marty. That motion fails. The deletion fails. We're back to the original summary number 8. We have to ask for discussion again. We'll go straight to the voting. We'll go straight to voting. Okay. Any discussion on item 8? Roll call. Tommy? Brown? Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 09, introduced by the Recreation and Playground District, a resolution amending the 2018 Recreation and Playground District Fund budget in the total amount of $45,541 to provide for capital improvements carryover. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Trahan. Mr. Olivier? Trahan? Mr. Gonsalas?
On.
I don't know a lot, but the part that I do know is Recreation had received $95,000 from the Park Hill to do the improvements at the Grand Mary location. They spent about 50 of it, and they're carrying over the other 45 to 18's budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 10, introduced by the parish president, resolution amending the 2018 Public Building Maintenance Fund budget in the amount of $50,000 for renovations to the Roy Building to repurpose that building for use by the Sheriff's Department, all to be funded from the fund balance previous year's line item. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Trahan. We have both waves. Mr. Napier?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's good. Roll call. Roll call. Just tell me when you're ready. Roll call. Tommy. And motion passes. And we have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas. Oh, okay. You're gonna have to help me with this one. I have to ask to go into public hearing here. To go into public hearing, then I ask for public comments, then I ask it to go back to regular session. Okay, on the expansion, item number 1, discuss and consider a motion to expand the agenda to discuss and consider the following items. Summary number 11, introduced by Paul G. Landry, District 7, a resolution amending the 2018 Acadiana Fairgrounds Commission and the 2018 Public Building Maintenance Fund budget in the amount of $27,000 to provide a carryover for the funding of a rodeo chute, gate, and cattle roping gate, all as previously authorized by the resolution 2017-241, and all to be funded from the fund balance previous years. The purpose of this expansion carry forward funding appropriated in 2017 into the 2018 budget in order that said equipment may be purchased prior to the event at which it will be utilized at the facility. Okay, we have to vote to go into public hearing. Roll call. Oh, Mr. Gonsalas is the motion. Ms. Broussard has the second. Discussion? Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. Now we're in public comments. We have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas? Okay. So is anybody in the public want to make any comments about the expansion? Hearing none from the public, we need a motion to go back into regular session. Mr. Gonsalas in the motion, Mr. Olivier is the second. Roll call. And motion passes. Now we need a motion to expand the agenda. Ms. Broussard. And Mr. Olivier is the second. Any comments?
Yes.
Ms. Broussard?
Yeah, I just want the council to know I'm asking for everybody to support this motion. If y'all recall, 2 weeks ago at our last meeting, we approved this out of the 2017 budget. The chutes were not ordered before the end of the year, and if we don't do the expansion tonight and approve it to come out of the 2018 budget, they're not going to be able to get the chutes ordered in time and delivered for the rodeo that they have scheduled. So I'm asking everybody to consider expanding the agenda so that we can get this
She's right.
housekeeping issue dealt with and can get these shoots for the Sugarina for their rodeo.
Okay, Mr. Gonsalas? Ms. Tommy Landry? Okay, roll call. That motion passes. Okay, now we need a motion to suspend the rules, as this item did not go to the Finance Committee. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Trahan. Mr. Gonsalas, any comment? Okay. Go ahead and vote your machines. Tommy? That motion passes. Now we need a motion to vote on the item, a resolution amending the 2018 Acadiana Fairgrounds Commission and the 2018 Public Buildings Maintenance Fund budgets in the amount of $27 to provide for a carryover for the funding of a rodeo shoot gate and cattle roping gate, all as previously authorized by resolution 2017-241, and all to be funded from the fund balance previous years. Ms. Broussard has the motion. Mr. Trahan has the second. Roll call. That motion passes. We're going to go ahead and adjourn for 5 minutes, and we'll come back to committee.